A lot of admitting, admitting that your truth in that moment.
And plus, I find it interesting, like, especially in the work I've done over the last year or so, and what I was practicing at the retreat. There's a number of times where I was sure, like, I'm telling my truth right now. This is my truth. But with more contemplation or going just that little bit deeper, I realized it wasn't the full truth to myself, right? Because when I touch the full truth, it's like a key in a lock. And that's when the breakthrough happens. But there's a somatic sensation of, there's a releasing, a surrendering to the truth.
To that truth, right? Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. Leading up to that, it's not easy. It's not easy stuff because you're conditioned to not tell the truth.
Yeah.
Right, to protect other people. Sometimes even to protect yourself, but just to protect other people. Because just because I ask how you're doing doesn't mean I really want to know how you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's a truth that we don't admit to ourselves.
You just want like a sample of a feeling.
Yeah, like I don't care about my colleague. I don't care about my coworker. I'm just letting you know that I'm good. But am I? Right? But the one thing that you touched there that was really powerful is the contemplation and how important that is.
Yeah.
Right? Self-inquiry, contemplation, and how that plays a big role in this on this path. Right? Every morning I wake up, when I do Yinnergy, I say to myself, who am I? I am that. Who am I? I am that. Who am I? I am that. 1,020 times. Who am I? I am that. 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 But who am I? Nigga, I said, I am that. You sure though? Who am I? I am that. Who am I? Oh, I am that. Right, but you get to a point, hopefully you get to a point where both the question and the answer becomes the same thing.
Oh, that's so interesting. That's what one of the monitors had told me earlier on in the retreat. He talked about the experience of, okay, hopefully I can put this into words, but there's the observing witness.
Yeah.
There is what is being observed, and there's the act of observation. And there's a point, he said, where all of them merge together.
And it becomes non-dual.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So who am I? I am that. The interaction between the two, the three things, the Trinity becomes one.
Oh, right? That makes sense. To bridging the gap.
To the point there is no question, there is no answer, yet there is a question and an answer. And you realize who you actually are. And people think that it's one of that you're asking the question because you don't know. And you give yourself the answer, I am that. Whoa, you keep doing this. And you start to realize that the two start to merge. And then that's when you get the full realization of what you actually are, that you're both. You're the question and the answer, because there is no question without an answer. There's no answer without a question.
Yeah.
Right? An answer makes no sense without a question. Right? So when you put the two together, it becomes whole. You realize that you've always been whole. You've never been separate. You've never been apart. You've never just been the question who's been asking, the seeker who's seeking whatever it is that we're trying to seek. You've always been the very thing that you've been seeking.
Is that what you mean by that? Like, I assume with a capital T, I am
the capital T, I am that.
Yeah.
Right? I am that. I am this.
And then you
I am that I am.
Experience as you say that.
As you say that, and you realize that the experience of what you're saying also blends in with the question and the answer, like when you said the interaction between the two. That makes it whole, because enlightenment from a human being standpoint makes no sense if there's no seeking, if there's no story, right? Because enlightenment is enlightenment. Enlightenment is all there is. That's all they ever. That's all it ever was. That's all it is, and all that it will ever be.
Yeah.
Right? But if you have the human experience of seeking, of thinking that you don't have it or that you're not it, when you get it, It all makes sense. It makes the human experience worthwhile, because now you realize, oh, because you've always been all the I am that.
Yeah.
You've been that for eternity. But that's no fun. God has always been that.
Yeah.
So let me create a story, the human experience of me trying to find who I am, because it's just doing this for fun. Let me find out who I am because I have the power to do so. And I'm going to do this with billions and billions and billions of individuals trying to find out who I am. But I already know who I am. I'm just doing this for fun because I'm the only one that exists. And I am that.
Oh my God. I was reflecting on that during my walking contemplations. Like, if I'm the absolute, right? I'm trying to get direct consciousness of this oneness, absoluteness that I am.
Mhm.
And it's having an experience through me. How would that energy feel of this infinite being that's experiencing itself in this limited form? It'd be the purest joy. Like, look, look at
Look,
this, at
yeah.
that.
Until you get to the point where there's nothing to see. Yeah. At the highest point where there's just nothing to see. And there's nothing that's need to be seen, because all there is you. I am that. All right. And that's the ultimate seeing.
Yeah.
All right. Again, the audience would be small who can relate to that, but what is the point of seeing when you are that? There's nothing outside of you, yet there is. There's nothing inside of you, yet there is. There's nothing
Yeah.
above you, yet there is. There's nothing below you, yet there is. And all those things that I just mentioned, all of that is you. I am that. And more. And more, and more, and more, and more, and more, for eternity. I am the only one to exist. Everything that's happening in the universe are facets of who I am. There is nothing else. I am expressing myself because I have the power to do so. And I've been doing this, I am doing this, and I will do this for eternity. But there is no eternity. Because all of that is the same thing. And when you come to the realization, you laugh hysterically, because it's like, oh my, I've always been that. The joy that comes down a human person's face when they experience that, to come to the realization that there's nothing for me to do.
Yes.
Right? There was no retreat that I went to. I didn't meet a guru, Paramahamsa Vishwananda, and been touched by grace. None of that actually happened. It's just a story that I'm making up. Because it's such a cool story. But I'm making it up, and I'm making it up on the spot. And even all that, even though I'm creating a story, the story never happened because there's no past, present, or future.
Yeah.
Right? So there is no story. So how in the hell am I doing this? And not only am I making up my story, but I'm making up your story and Nathan's story, and everyone else on the planet Earth, and everyone else in the entire universe, that I'm making up all these stories, and I'm doing this with ease. I don't know how I'm doing it, because I have no past, I have no present, I have no future.
Yeah.
So how in the hell am I doing this? Yet I'm doing it. With the ultimate ease. I'm just doing it. And that's who I am.
Right? Yes.
Which I'm not. It's the most mind-blowing thing. When you come to the realization of what you actually are, which is nothing.
Yeah.
Or nothingness. Whatever you want to call it. Emptiness.
But it has everything.
But it has everything, with form, without form. All the attributes and all the qualities, yet it doesn't have any attributes or qualities. How can I be this thing? Yet I am. And when you come out of that experience, your mind and your heart and your gut is blown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every cell within your being, every molecule, every atom, every particle is blown. That this could ever be possible. That I've always been this. And I can't be anything else Yet I am everything else.
Yeah.
Because I am the ultimate. And there's no one or anything outside of me. Yet there is. I can't think of anything greater. Because anything I think of is just part of the story. And everything I just said is just also part of the story. How do you wrap your mind around this?
Ridiculous.
Can't think of anything greater. It's like, okay, now that I'm back in my physical body and my ego, how do I talk about this?
Yeah.
Some people don't. Some people just stay silent because it's like, there's nothing for me to say.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a speaker. I'm a public speaker. Been on stage how many times? How do I talk about this? How do I express this? Right? And even if I choose not to express it in that way, I still have to embody that in my being and go to work day to day, work with these youth, work with the children, do what I do, interact with parents, deal with the work politics, deal with your family, and deal with your everyday social life and your personal life, knowing this and keeping yourself sane. How do I keep myself sane through all this, knowing what I know and can never explain it through words? There is no way I can explain this through words. I have to live out the rest of my life knowing what I am, not just me, knowing what everyone is and what everything is. And I can only keep that locked in my mind, and I can never express that to anyone. All I can do is point the finger and say, over there, just keep walking straight. Stay on your path, just keep walking straight, it's over there. And when you get there, feel free and come back and tell me if you can, but I can tell you, you won't be able to. And that's the beauty of it.
Well said. For something that can't be described.
Cannot be described.
Well said.
Cannot be described. It's like the biggest blessing and the biggest curse. I can't describe this. All I can do is, this is me. This is me. This is me. The air I'm breathing in and breathing out, that's me. But there is no me. I'm making the whole thing up. Why? Because I have the power to do so. I am the only one to exist. And again, what is existence? I'm making that up too. There is no existence. It just is. So again, who am I? I am that. What is that? I don't know. But the type of knowing that when I'm saying I don't know, I'm saying this I don't know with a sense of confidence that I don't need to know. There's nothing for me to know. There's nothing for me to grasp onto. It's not a substance.
Oh.
And if I try to grab onto it, my hands will just go right through it because I can't, there's nothing for me to grab onto. I can't grasp this thing that's going right through my fingers and through my hands and everything. Yet my hands that's trying to grasp this thing is the very thing that I'm trying to grasp. And it just can't be done. No one can do it. No one has ever done it because there's nothing to be done. So you can do this all day, all you want. It doesn't matter. Keep doing it all you want. It doesn't matter. It's not going to do a damn thing.
Like
all of that is part of the story.
It's like a cat with a string, just never gonna get it. Just
never gonna get it. Never gonna get it. Nathan's favorite song. Never gonna get it. Never gonna get it. There's nothing to get. Right? She said absolutely nothing to get, and that very thing that you can't get is you playing the role of trying to get something. You can't do it, and it's not a disappointment. It's not a letdown. It's not meant to be. It's not meant to be grabbed. It's not meant to be grasped. Your job is to play human until that journey is over.
Mm.
And if you have to do it again and again and again, so what? You got time, which doesn't even exist because you're making it up. So it doesn't matter from God's standpoint how many times you do this, right? It only matters to us with the ego. So how do I end this? Right? God laughs with absolute joy. He's like, there's nothing to get. I've been doing this for eternity. I'm going to continue to do this for eternity. There's nothing more than I can do. It's probably the only power God doesn't have. There's nothing more I can do. Right? Because God is all powerful. He also has to be powerless.
Mm.
Right? If God is all possibilities, it has to also include the impossibilities.
Yeah. Because it contains it all.
Right? Nathan, are you taking this in?
Yes.
The possibility and the impossibilities. Well, God can do anything. Yes, he also has the ability to not able to do anything. He can be both empowering and also helpless. He can be both because it is everything. It must include everything.
Mm.
That's a very hard thing to grasp. It must include everything, even the very thing that it can't do. And that's power. And it's not even a power because power is relative. Powerful to whom? There's nothing outside of him. He can't say, oh, I'm more powerful than that God. There's no other God outside of him. Or whatever you want to call it, existence, whatever. I'm fine with any name. Call it flower. I don't care. Same thing to me. All names are sacred. All titles are sacred. All of it is sacred. All right? All of it is divine. Call God whatever you want, or no God at all. That's why I agree with the theists, the atheists, the what's the other ones? The pantheists. I agree with all of them. All of them are true. That's how powerful God is. Again, whatever you want to call it. Some people are not comfortable with the word God. I say God because I was brought up in the tradition where that word is used. But is it God? No. It's beyond titles. It's beyond all names. It's beyond all labels.
It's beyond meat.
It's beyond meat.
You got the KFC and the vegan burger.
You say some of the stupidest shit, and that's God too. God is expressing himself in a humorous way that gave itself the ability to come up with the idea and the capability of coming up with beyond meat. All God. Mind-blowing. I don't know what else to say. My mind is still blown. I cannot wrap my head around this. And it's been this way since it happened.
Yeah.
Right? I can't shake it.
Mm.
I'll be dealing with this for the rest of my human life as Morgan. Of how blown, nothing has ever done this to me in this manner. I've even had the highest level of sex, and that still doesn't even cover what I'm trying to convey here.
Mm-hmm.
The highest level, ultimate sex, the ultimate orgasm. I've done all that, and it still doesn't cover what I'm trying to convey.
Yes, you can't say that. Then say nothing. Just walk off.
As I'm saying nothing, I'm
speaking. My
speaking.
life.
The nothingness is the speaker. If I stay silent, something is still talking. You can't hear it, you have to feel it. Nothing has ever touched my soul, the core of my being, than this awakening. Nothing.
Yeah.
And this is when I say nothing. Nothing has touched my core. Nothing has touched my core. Nothing is touching my core. Amazed.